You have felt it. That pull. Not just in your chest, but in your soul. Like something ancient has been stirred inside you. You didn't plan this. You didn't ask for it. But now that it's here, you can't pretend it's just a coincidence. The angels say, your presence is not random. It never was. You were placed on his path like a flame in winter, not to warm him, but to remind him he could still feel. He doesn't know how to name what you awakened. Maybe he never had words for it. Maybe he buried them long ago. But deep in his bones, he remembers. He sees you and something cracks open, not because you broke it, but because you reminded him it was never meant to be closed. The divine brought you into his life so he would stop hiding from himself. Not from you. From himself. And now he's caught between fear and longing. Between running and returning. Because every time he looks at you, he sees the reflection of a man he forgot he could be. This isn't just love. This is initiation. A calling. You are not here to complete him. You are here to call forth the parts of him that have been asleep. And that terrifies him. Because once he feels, he cannot go back to pretending. The angels whisper, he knows. Even when he hides. Especially when he walks away. He knows. He doesn't run because you scare him. He runs because you silence the noise inside him, and that scares him even more. You showed up, and suddenly, all the old wounds started to ache again. Not because you caused them, but because your light made them visible. The angels say, he carries a fortress built from past betrayals, disappointments, and promises broken by others who looked like they would stay, but didn't. Every wall he built was meant to protect him. But now, those same walls are keeping you out. He's not rejecting you. He's just enduring what he thinks love is. Right now, he believes love equates to pain. So when you get too close, he pulls away, not because he doesn't want you, but because he fears what it actually means to let you in. You see, his heart has been conditioned to expect abandonment. Even when he's the one leaving, he does it to maintain control. Because if he leaves first, then the hurt can't catch him off guard. But you remind him of something different. Something softer. Something he buried so deep that he thought it was gone for good. And now that you've awakened it, he doesn't know how to hold both fear and hope simultaneously. His walls aren't about you. They're about him. About years of learning to survive without tenderness, and now being asked to unlearn it all, simply because you exist. And that, dear soul, is why this connection can be so painful. Because it's not just emotional. It's ancestral. It's spiritual. It's generational. You are here to break a cycle he didn't even realize he was trapped in. You give so much of yourself, don't you? Without being asked. Without being noticed. You pour your energy into him as if he is the only one who needs healing. But the angels say, those who hold the light must also protect it. You think love means giving until there's nothing left of you. But that's not love. That's sacrifice disguised as devotion. And every time you dim your glow to make space for his shadows, something inside you whispers, this is not how it's supposed to be. He is not your mission. He is your mirror. And in trying to fix him, are you neglecting to care for your own wounds? The ones that hurt when he walks away? The ones that bleed when he doesn't call? The angels remind you, you were never meant to carry someone else's fire while letting your own burn out. You were meant to shine, even when he looks away. Especially then. So stop waiting for him to notice how much you've given. Start noticing how much you've lost. Your peace, your power, your presence in your own life. This journey isn't just about him waking up to you. It's about you waking up to yourself, to your worth, to your right to be held, cherished, and protected, not just by him but by you. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. If you keep giving without refilling your own cup, what once felt like love will begin to feel like drowning. The divine did not send you here to save him. You were sent to remind him of his light. But first, you must remember your own. You didn't come into his life to change him. You came to show him who he already is, beneath the masks, the stories, and the armor he has built so carefully over the years. The angels say, your presence is a mirror he cannot avoid. Not because you force it, but because your truth reflects what he has buried too deep to find on his own. When he looks at you, he sees more than love. He sees the version of himself that he abandoned long ago, the one still capable of wonder, of tenderness, of belief. But mirrors do not only reveal beauty, they also expose wounds. And now that you are here, he can no longer ignore the cracks in his soul. He feels them most when he's silent, when he pulls away, when he tries to convince himself that life without depth is safer than love with meaning. He may call it distance. You may feel it as rejection. But what it really is fear. Fear of facing what your light uncovered. Fear of admitting that everything he thought he wanted before you no longer fits. This is not about you leaving. It is about him being left with himself. For someone who has spent a lifetime running from his own reflection, that is the scariest place to be. So he moves closer, then farther, then closer again. Not because he is playing games, but because he is wrestling with something ancient inside him. A choice between staying asleep or daring to wake up. And every time he returns, even briefly, he carries a little more awareness. A little more honesty. A little less denial. That is the power of your mirror, beloved soul. You don't need to speak. You don't need to chase. Just by being who you are, you have already begun to change him forever. Something is shifting inside him. Slowly, quietly, but undeniably. He may not speak of it. He may not even understand it himself. But the angels say, he is beginning to feel again. Not just for you, but for life. You can sense it in the way he looks at you now, longer than before. In the pauses between his words, where something unspoken lingers. In the moments he reaches for you without knowing why. Something ancient is stirring. And it has nothing to do with logic, and everything to do with soul. He used to believe love was transactional. A game of give and take. Now, he feels something deeper. Something that cannot be measured or controlled. Something that frightens him because it asks nothing in return, except truth. The divine is moving through your connection like a quiet wind beneath wings that have never flown. And though he may still resist, there are cracks forming in his walls, not from force, but from feeling. He dreams of you when he tries to forget. He remembers your voice when he tells himself to let go. And in those silent spaces, where no one else can see, he begins to question everything he once believed. This is the beginning of awakening. Not dramatic. Not sudden. But real. Because true transformation never arrives with fanfare, only with presence. And you, beloved soul, are the presence he can no longer erase. He comes back. Then he disappears. He opens his heart, then locks it again. You feel the rhythm of his return, like tides pulling you closer, only to leave you standing alone in the sand. And you wonder, is this love? Or is it torment? The angels say, do not mistake his circling for rejection. He is caught in a spiral, not because he wants to hurt you, but because he is learning how to stay. Every time he returns, he tests the space you hold for him. Every time he leaves, he wrestles with the fear that he does not deserve to be held at all. This is not cruelty. It is confusion. A soul trying to remember how to trust after years of betrayal, not just from others, but from himself. He believes love must be earned. That tenderness is temporary. That if he lets himself need you too much, you will vanish like those before you did. So he retreats. Not because he doesn't want you, but because he does. Because wanting you terrifies him. Because needing you feels like falling without knowing when he will land. You have become his sanctuary and his storm. The place where he finds peace, and the place he fears losing most. And until he learns that love is not a trap, he will keep running, even as his heart begs him to stay. But listen closely, beloved soul. Even in his absence, something is changing. His resistance is not rejection. It is recognition. He is beginning to see that what he feels for you cannot be explained away, cannot be ignored, cannot be undone. And one day soon, he will stop running, not because he won, but because he surrenders. You think you need words from him, actions, proof. But the angels say, love is not always loud. Sometimes, it heals in silence. And even when he cannot speak it, your presence is already mending what was broken inside him. He carries wounds that no hand has ever touched. Scars formed from years of believing he had to be strong to survive. That vulnerability was weakness. That softness would leave him exposed. But now, every time he allows himself to feel you, even for just a moment, something within him exhales. He may not tell you this. He may not even know how to name it. But in the quietest parts of his soul, he is changing. Because love is not just what you do. Love is what you are. And simply by existing next to him, you are undoing years of pain he believed he had learned to live with. The divine works through your energy like a balm on old wounds. Not fast, not dramatic, but deep. And though he may still pull away, he comes back softer each time. Less guarded, more open. As if your patience is teaching his heart how to trust again. You did not come into his life to fix him. You came to remind him that he was never broken. That he was always worthy of love, not because he earned it, but because he simply is. And that, beloved soul, is the greatest healing of all. You are not walking this path alone. Every step, even the ones that feel uncertain, painful, or unclear, is being supported by something greater than you can see right now. The angels say, divine timing is not delay. It is preparation. And while you wait, something sacred is unfolding behind the scenes. He may not be where you want him to be, but he is not where he was. And that, in itself, is progress. Because the soul does not rush its own awakening. It unfolds like a flower turning toward the sun, slowly, deliberately, and only when the light feels safe enough to trust. You were never promised an easy road, but you were promised guidance. Every time you whispered for clarity, it was heard. Every tear you shed in silence was seen. And every moment you questioned if this was worth it, the heavens leaned closer, cradling your heart like something precious. The divine has woven your souls together with threads too fine for human eyes to trace. And though he may still stumble, still retreat, still doubt, his steps are not his own. They are being led. Just as yours are. There is a plan that neither of you fully understands yet. But understanding is not required for faith. Trust is. And even when you cannot see the path, you must believe in the one who lights it. So breathe, beloved soul. You are exactly where you need to be. Not because it feels good, but because it is holy. And in divine time, everything will make sense. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7 He wants to love you. But he doesn't know how to do it without fear. He sees you, truly sees you, and something inside him trembles. Not because you are too much, but because you are exactly enough. And that terrifies him. The angels say, vulnerability is not weakness. It is the bravest thing a heart can attempt. And right now, his soul stands at the edge of something vast. A place where he must choose between hiding behind what is familiar or stepping into a love that asks him to be seen, completely. He has spent so long building himself up, brick by brick, wall by wall, that now when he looks at you, he feels the weight of everything he's trying to protect. What if I let go and fall apart? What if I open my heart and you don't stay? What if I finally say the truth, and it changes everything? These are not doubts about you. These are wounds from a lifetime of loving people who could not stay, who did not choose him, who left without explanation. And now when he feels himself wanting you more than he has ever wanted anyone, he hesitates, not because he doesn't mean it, but because he means it too much. You have become the mirror of his deepest longing, and also his greatest fear. Because to love you fully is to risk losing himself in a way he has never dared before. But the divine whispers, healing does not happen behind walls. It happens in the open, in the trembling, in the surrender. And though he may still hold back, give him time. For even the strongest hearts need permission to break before they can truly beat again. You have loved deeply. Not with grand gestures or perfect words, but with your presence, with your patience, with the quiet strength of someone who held space for another's awakening, even when it hurt. The angels say, love was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be felt. And now, as you stand at the edge of what's unfolding, you must choose not certainty, but surrender. Because the heart knows what the mind cannot see. And yours has already made its peace. He may come back. Or he may not. But either way, something sacred has been set in motion. A knowing that will stay with him forever. A tenderness he will carry long after your names fade from his lips. This journey was never about possession. It was about transformation. For both of you. You were never promised forever, only this moment. And even if this is where the path bends away, know this, your love was real. Your light was needed. Your soul remembered itself because of what passed between you. So let go, beloved soul. Not with defeat, but with dignity, with grace, with the understanding that what is meant to return will find its way, not because you chase it, but because you remain. And what is truly yours will always find you again. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5